It's a simple fact that fire sprinklers save lives. Because it's April, or fire sprinkler season, I decided to build a new and improved fire sprinkler demonstration setup to appreciate these interesting and life-saving systems. Traditionally, in past years, sprinkler demonstrations have looked something like this: a simple pipe attached to a sprinkler on one end and a garden hose or water tank on the other end. Although this worked somewhat for testing the sprinklers and whatnot, it really had two major problems. The first problem was that there was nothing to catch the heat. As the fire grew, the heat just rose straight into the atmosphere, and because the sprinkler was just hanging down so low, the heat just rose past the sprinkler head, and the activation was really delayed. Also, the pressure in the sprinkler is way too low. Although it was a demonstration, it would have been nice to have some accurate test pressure. So this new demonstration solves both of those issues. Without further ado, here's the sprinkler demonstration. As you can see, it's basically just an old dresser that I gutted out and retrofitted with sprinklers. 3/4 inch PVC runs along the outside and goes to two sprinkler head locations, one on the very top and one on the side for sidewall sprinklers. Unlike most demo systems, this actually connects to a water fire extinguisher, which is pressurized to 100 psi. This should give the system a more realistic pressure when activated, and of course, because there is technically a ceiling, it will catch the heat and the sprinkler will activate in a realistic time. For the purpose of today's testing, I'm going to be activating two sprinklers, an upright sprinkler head and a pendant sprinkler head. Just a quick recap on sprinklers: each sprinkler activates independently of other sprinklers, so when one goes off, they don't all go off. As you can see, inside of the sprinkler head, there is some sort of a heat-sensitive element. Generally on modern sprinklers, it's going to be some sort of a glass bulb filled with a heat-expansive liquid. However, there are some sprinklers out there that activate with a fusible link instead of a glass bulb. Also, some sprinklers activate at different temperatures. Generally, the color of the glass bulb will indicate what temperature the sprinkler will activate at. The sprinklers we'll be activating today activate at 155 degrees Fahrenheit or around 68 degrees Celsius. Now, obviously, there are many variations and types and styles of sprinklers out there, but the three main common types of sprinklers you're probably going to find are sidewall sprinklers, upright sprinklers, and pendant sprinklers. The names are pretty self-explanatory, but in case you missed it, pendant sprinklers mount on the ceiling and face down, upright sprinklers mount on the top of a pipe and face up, and sidewall sprinklers mount on the side of a wall. A lot of sprinklers are also concealed behind cover plates to make them more aesthetically pleasing, but today we're just going to be activating regular sprinkler heads. With that being said, let's go ahead and activate the sprinklers. Outside, you can see I have one paper bag full of 4 sheets of newspaper under the sprinkler heads. After plugging the unused holes, it was time to pressurize the system for the first time. I also have 2 camera angles, one showing the actual fire and then one trained at the actual sprinkler head. Let's go ahead and start the fire. The sprinkler put out the fire, but just barely. The water can that was running the system actually ended up running out of pressure, which resulted in the system shutting off. But it did extinguish the fire, so I will consider it a success. Next up is the upright sprinkler. The upright sprinkler, just like the pendant sprinkler, activated on time and extinguished the fire, but just barely. The water supply ended up running out shortly after the fire was extinguished, and even though it was a success, I would like to add some more capacity to this setup in the future. Now that both sprinklers have been activated, let's take a look at some pretty cool slow motion shots. Now that we've finished testing the sprinklers, let's take a look at the issues we had with this setup. First of all, even though the pressure was much higher than previous setups and a huge improvement over last year's, it still wasn't even close to actual building pressure. If a sprinkler were to activate in an actual building on a code-compliant system, the water coming out would be much higher pressure than that and it would go absolutely everywhere. However, for this demonstration, it was okay. The second and more important issue is that the system barely has any capacity. The key benefit to hooking it up to a garden hose or other water supply is that you pretty much just have unlimited water until the system is turned off, but because I'm using a water can to power this system, it only lasts for like 30 seconds and the pressure slowly just goes down over time. So I think what would be a good course of action is adding a second water can or even a third water can if necessary. Either way, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you for watching this video, and please like, comment, and subscribe. See ya.